Is it just me, or has the writing gotten way too predictable regarding character awakenings with backstories? I mean, the author basically tells us what will happen before it even happens. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Animasu, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking you guys through Blue Lock chapter 262, titled Zero. If you watched through today's video and end up enjoying yourselves, please feel free to click that subscribe button, comment below your thoughts, and also join my community Discord down in the description. Without further ado, let's get right into the chapter, and I hope you all have wonderful rest of your days. Starting us off here as usual, we have some intro text which states, despite both teams scoring one goal apiece, the match remains gridlocked. As both teams struggle to gain control, Isagi exerts pressure on Kaiser. The first thing we see here is Kunigami and Shidou both dueling midair for the loose ball, while Kurisu and Nanase watch from either side. Kunigami is quite literally gliding through the air a good 3 to 4 feet higher than Shidou, and with the ball coming his direction, he manages to get to it first, headering it right to Corona Ranze's possession. It's really sad to see Shidou being absolutely clamped down, but ever since he scored first, I kind of expected him to fall off this match. Anyways, with us then cutting over to Isagi's perspective, he's sprinting up the field with only one thing on his mind, destroying and crushing Michael Kaiser. While activating his Metavision eyes though, he says that even further, it's now his chance to devour Kaiser. If you look closely, our egoist even has a devious smirk on his face while thinking about crushing his rival, which is just borderline psychopathic. It even gets worse though, so don't worry, because while watching Kaiser get up, Isagi just points out how he's losing control and unraveling at the seams. As we then get a little flashback to the last chapter where Isagi taunted Kaiser, our egoist goes on to say that if he can just rile Kaiser up a little more, then he can firmly plant himself inside his head. We've just learned that all along, Isagi Yoichi's insults have been just another crucial part of his game plan to break his rival's mental peace. It even portrays this by showing Michael Kaiser kneeling down on a puzzle piece, as his despair and slipping mental state are just tools for Isagi's victory. As he continues to sprint upfield, Isagi says that riling up Kaiser will just make his movements all the more predictable, which he'll promptly use to his advantage. From there, with the help of Hiyori and Corona, Isagi Yoichi believes he can 100% win this game, more than likely with all 3 goals, a complete hat trick. As we then see Kaiser finally leaping back up while looking towards Isagi, our egoist further taunts him by basically calling him a court jester. Looking back and making eye contact as well, he's fully aware that Kaiser wants more than anything to destroy him, and he'll take full advantage of that. Also, this panel is really awesome with the black hole and puzzle pieces flying all around, with it more than likely just symbolizing the destruction that Kaiser craves for Yoichi. Speaking of which, the perspective then changes over to Michael, who we see absolutely enraged and also visibly sweating for his first new Egoist League match. Comparing the memories of his abusive father to Isagi Yoichi himself, Kaiser says that being on a team and beefing with this guy makes him feel like when he lived with his father. It's the exact kind of discomfort, the same kind of hopelessness and feelings of despair. In the most ironic twist of fate ever, the Emperor has once again been plunged into the same negative feelings, all because he chose to continue the cycle rather than try to better himself. With the next page then showing him sprinting up the field while seething with rage, it seems like Kaiser thought he'd come to peace already with his father and childhood trauma. It's crazy he thinks this too, despite him literally making no effort to attain true growth, but we'll get more into that later this chapter. Right now though, Isagi Yoichi is threatening the very foundation of Michael Kaiser's existence by surpassing and taunting him. The only solution Michael sees to prevent himself from losing everything is to beat or surpass Isagi Yoichi within this match. This is his only option, and only goal now. Sprinting in from behind though and screaming out, we see Alexis Ness coming in here to try and calm Kaiser down. Ness assures him that everything will be okay if they just wait patiently and stay calm, because any further irrational plays will display Kaiser in a poor light. He even points out that Kaiser scored a goal in every NEL match so far, and even got a brand new offer from La Real, so why stress himself and risk losing that? With light gleaming in his eyes in a super wholesome panel, Alexis Ness reminds Kaiser that he's still there for him, and will always remain by his side. This character has slowly become one of my favorites, just due to how kind and innocent he seems at his core. Kaiser, however, remains the same hateful person, because he responds to Ness by calling him straight up dog shit. With veins bulging in his face and even tapping into the flow state, Kaiser tells Ness that if they lose this match, everything they've been working for will just disappear. With the entire world watching, victory in this match against Isagi and PXG is crucial and more important than anything to Kaiser. Losing here would risk his offer from La Real, his position as King of Bastion Munich. All the glories Kaiser has won up until now will be snatched away from Isagi Yoichi, destroying the very person he's worked so hard to become. Worse than anything, Michael begins to believe this will revert him back to the poor abused child he once was, a worthless, unwanted striker who's easily replaced. It's crazy to see someone who was so confident now looking so desperate, but I guess Chris Prince was right all along with what he said in the Manshine match. Michael Kaiser truly is an insecure facade who picks on those beneath him. However, at his core, He's just a scared child with unhealed trauma. He even tries to leap in for a slide tackle on his own teammate here while his mind is clouded. However, Isagi just flicks the ball up, leaving him looking even more goofy and pathetic. As his eyes even dilate, Kaiser realizes that he's actually afraid in this moment. Afraid of losing everything he's worked so hard for. He never wants to return to that hellhole football dragged him out of, and as his face even reflects the pent-up trauma inside the boy, he was born unwanted, a painful reminder of someone else's mistakes. As he looks up at Isagi Yoichi emitting the most demonic, badass aura, Kaiser begins to think about all he's done wrong to get this far. He thought he was slowly becoming more human, as he would steal and hack away at other people's sense of reality and hope. Kaiser required money, fame, and power, and yet despite all of that, Isagi now has him scared of losing it all, as Michael just watches his rival sprint off towards the goal, paying him no attention. He says that this is the fatal flaw of successful people, which is honestly hilarious. Even in the few pages of character development he gets, his narcissistic, awful attitude still bleeds through in his thought process. Rather than the pitfall of a successful person, this is the flaw of an insecure one. Rather than working to gain or steal something he desires, Kaiser is simply just operating to maintain everything he now has. Instead of working to achieve even greater heights, he would just pick fights he knew he could win, playing it safe as to not risk anything. Sitting on his throne of comfort and being showered in praise, the Emperor had nothing to worry about if he just maintained his quota. Kaiser thought this was just to be expected, as he'd already reached the top, so what reason did he really have to pursue anything risking his worth? Despite thinking this before, he now realizes that the place he currently resides is not truly where people will recognize him as the best player in the world. This is even visually demonstrated with Isagi and Noah standing atop the staircase with an even higher throne, both looking down at him disappointed. It's interesting because even Noah is still standing up rather than sitting on the throne, possibly showing that a true egoist is never satisfied. Looking even more defeated and pathetic than ever, Michael has made the realization that if he just continues to protect his current spot, then he can never truly grow any further and reach the top. This man is really out here speedrunning character development in this match, all thanks to Yoichi making him go nearly insane. That's some effective therapy right there if I've ever seen it. With Kaiser then placing his hand on the grass, his body begins to fade away into flower petals blowing in the wind. He vows to get rid of it all, his past achievements and pride, everything he's won, even the joy he felt about becoming human will be thrown away. The petals flying all around symbolize Michael stripping himself clean of all that he's become, as he's now become zero. The chapter title seems to have been in reference to Michael Kaiser's true awakening, as we see him fully destroying himself to hopefully rebuild better. He's thinking about what he desires most and wants to protect, being nothing related to Isagi and Ness or even his parents. The first thing he ever wanted for himself, the origin of this young boy's ego, is what he truly wants to understand. We get this really emotional panel here of a fully destroyed Kaiser holding his young self within the palm of his hand. Flower petals fly all around the young boy, as we once again see him staring up at that special soccer ball, the gift that changed his entire life. The final page here shows Kaiser fully locked in while sprinting towards Isagi, tapped into the flow state while seemingly put back together. He still goes on to call his rival trash though while Isagi glances over with his metavision, and this small detail right here makes me really worry for him. Isagi seems to have correctly gauged everything about Kaiser so far, even stringing him along with insults and taunts, so did he really plan all along for Kaiser's awakening? Anyways, with that being the end of today's chapter, the outro text here says, Kaiser is down but not quite out. Destroying the safety shackles he subconsciously put on himself, Michael reclaims his original ego. After returning to his origins, the fallen emperor is ready to reclaim his throne. The outro text seems to be blatantly pointing towards an upcoming Kaiser goal. However, it could all just be bait for PXG to soon make the score 2-1. There will be no break as we go into next week's chapter 263, which is shown to be titled Boundary. This is probably talking about the depths of Kaiser and Isagi's true ego in my opinion, but let me know your thoughts and theories on that down below. Anyways, with that being sadly the end of today's chapter and video, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in and watching all the way through. If you all enjoy the content I push out and would like to support me, please go ahead and click that subscribe button, comment below for the algorithm, and even join my community Discord down below. I really hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.